Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat. Resolves.
Right.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Welcome back. This is DJ and the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. Let's talk about standard rotation. Standard is a very popular format, and cards have a limited time to be legal in Standard. But Commander is also a popular format, and we can play with cards as long as we want. So as Standard players start getting rid of cards they can no longer use, Commander players benefit by getting cards from Amonkhet for super cheap. Amonkhet had a lot of amazing Commander cards. Some of them turned out to be very, very specific. So I want to give a shout out to a collection of cards that really might not interest most of you, but I think were really good for our format. Hapatra really created the -1/-1 counters deck. Lord of the Accursed was one of the best zombies, and we saw zombies expand into white, which was very cool. Temet, Vizier of Noctamun, gave us a blue-white token deck that we hadn't really seen before. Neheb the Worthy gave Minotaurs a tribal theme and also gave us some great discard. And Royal Caracal combined with the Commander set to make cats a real big thing. These cards are not really required buys, but I wanted to give a shout out to Amonkhet for really pushing Commander into a good place. By the way, all of these cards, 25 cents! Or less, unless you're talking about the one uncommon in this list. Lord of the Accursed is actually $2 right now. Hopefully that'll go down a little bit. But it's crazy, right? The uncommon is the most expensive one in this list. Alright, let's talk about cards I actually think you should pick up. The first one is incredibly inexpensive, but has a really high converted mana cost. Sandworm Convergence. 6 green for an enchantment. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. You know what? This is gonna be a 2-part suggestion because I just think Anointed Procession goes so well with this. If we're gonna be creating worms each turn, why not double them up? 3 and a white for an enchantment. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many tokens instead. Anointed Procession is a solid card and goes in any token deck that has white in it. That's why Anointed Procession is coming in at $5.50, and Sandworm Convergence is only coming in at 50 cents. I think it's definitely a pickup. Yeah, you're not really surprising people with Anointed Procession. Everyone knows that it's good, so go ahead and grab it now because you're going to want it later on when it's $7 or $8. There was one area of Amonkhet that had me a little bit disappointed, and I personally, from a commander standpoint, was really underwhelmed by the gods. When I heard that they were returning, I thought about the Theros gods, and I was so excited, and then I got 5 gods that I was really meh about. But there is one that turned out to be way better than I thought, and that's Ronis the Indomitable. But it's coming in at $10. Ugh. I don't know. This card is undeniably powerful and fits in certain strategies. These cards are very difficult to reprint, so if you do want to pick them up, now is the right time. But I was really invested in other legendary permanents. One of my favorites? Throne of the God Pharaoh. 2 mana for a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures you control. I have seen this do so much damage. It really has become a cool alternative win condition in creature-based decks, specifically ones that can tap out for mana. I've really enjoyed playing Throne of the God Pharaoh in a bunch of decks, including elf decks, token decks. Oh, I love it. And we had other legendary artifacts too. I just have Ronis's Monument and Oketra's Monument here because they have been solid. The other ones are fine. But also the monuments, they're uncommon, which means that they're super easy to pick up. So if you're trading or want to pick up some foils, I'd get a full set just in case. Next, I have another uncommon, and that's Manglehorn. 2 and a green for a 2/2 beast, and when Manglehorn enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact. Artifacts your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. I love that Manglehorn is 15 cents, but it's this other ability, artifacts your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. That is an undervalued effect. It is so powerful. So I suggest you try out a few of these effects. There's also Frozen Ether, Kismet, Luxodon Gatekeeper, Thalia, Heretic Cathar, and of course Manglehorn himself. Try them out and find out how annoying this is for your opponents, because I guarantee it will definitely slow them down. Next we have a card that's also very specific, but I enjoyed very much. Archfiend of Ifnir. 3 black for a 5/4 demon with flying, and whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. This also has cycling himself. This demon can be a board wipe out of nowhere. I love that it's 25 cents, and it was the buy a box promo too, so you can get that in foil for like 50 cents, sometimes 40 cents. Yeah, the power level on this is really there, especially if you have any discard synergies in your deck. And speaking of cycling, we cannot forget about the cycling lands. These lands are priced anywhere from 50 cents to $3.50, and irrigated farmland is the cheap one, so you should pick up some of those. Actually, I really enjoy these cards. I love that they're named forest, mountain, swamp, island, all that stuff, but cycling is really undervalued. If you don't need a land, this is a rebuy late in the game, and I think that's so powerful. If you're getting on the top end of competitive, then yeah, you can't have a tapped land come into play. But if you are playing anywhere in the middle range of power level and commander, I think that these are amazing cards, and they are criminally underplayed even now, even when they're so cheap. So buy them, put them in your decks, you will not be disappointed. With just a couple cards left, let's talk about Samut, Voice of Dissent. 3 red-green for a 3/4 legendary human warrior, with flash, and double strike, and vigilance, and haste. Other creatures you control have haste. This is so many keywords, and it's got more. White to tap Samut and untap another target creature. Samut's real power in Commander comes from giving your other creatures haste. Well, and the fact that you can flash it in and kill something. Well, now to mention it, the double strike is really good too. Well, and the vigilance, so they can attack and then also use its activated ability, which synergizes with so many of its creatures. Man, Samut is just good. I think the only downside is that it's so restricted in colors. Red, green, and white. You have to have all of those in its commander's identity, or if this is the commander, you would be playing a Naya deck. That is a little bit more limiting than just a red-green card. With 2 cards left, I have to talk about something that's super surprising to me. Aven Mind Sensor. This card that used to be 15 bucks is coming in at pennies. Aven Mind Sensor is 2 and a white for a 2/1 bird wizard with flash, flying, and if an opponent would search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of that library instead. Aven Mind Sensor is amazing, and at 50 cents? 50 cents, this should be a Commander staple. Do you know how often people abuse search effects in Commander? All the time. People are constantly playing fetch lands and tutors and everything, and you can suddenly shut them down with this just beautifully crafted bird. It's only 50 cents if you have to buy 1 card out of maybe all of the videos that I've done on this standard rotation. I think it's got to be Aven Mind Sensor. It's the most powerful effect in our format for the cheapest cost. Just 50 cents. By the way, 50 cents is what it rounded to. I bought these for 32 cents just now. Yeah, it's crazy. Go buy some Aven Mind Sensors. All right, the final card. It's not as good as Aven Mind Sensor. No, just kidding. The final card is awesome. It's Vizier of the Menagerie. This mythic is broken. 3 and a green for a 3/4 Naga Cleric. You may look at the top card of your library. I like that. By the way, there's no time restriction on this. It's like Morph, so you could be like, excuse me. I will look at the top of my library. Oh, you're doing something? Doesn't matter. I'm going to look at the top of my library. Okay. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a creature card. What? I can suddenly just cast stuff from the top of my library if they're creatures, and this fixes. You may spend mana as though it were any type to cast creature spells. So you could just dump your totally boring colorless mana and cast huge things. Vizier the Menagerie is card advantage in green, and to be honest, we're really used to manipulating the top of our library in green. Oracle of Moldiah or Courser have us putting lands on top to play them. We're constantly messing around with Sylvan Library and Miri's Guile, and so Vizier is just one more way to get value out of the top of our library. If we play a card from the top of our library, it's like we're drawing a card. So this could be a relevant body, fix our mana, tell us the future, and give us card advantage turn after turn after turn. Yes, Vizier of the Menagerie. That has been my list of cards to buy for Amonkhet. Of course, there's so many other good cards, and there's even more cards rotating out of Standard. I've already made videos about Kaladesh and Aether Revolt, and we have Hour of Devastation coming up next. If you want to buy all of these cards, you should check out tcgplayer.com. They sponsor Jumbo Commander, thank you guys, and they have the lowest prices available because thousands of card stores compete for your business. So check them out, tcgplayer.com. And check out my Patreon, patreon.com/jumbocommander. Links for these are always in the description down below. And I also want to thank all my patrons because they're awesome folk. Thank you, patrons. I'm going to be giving a bunch of these cards away to you. Do you know what? I bought 12 Aven Mind Sensors. 12 of you are going to get one in the mail. I'm so excited. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk about more things to buy later, and pretty soon we're going to be talking about Guilds of Ravnica. Why is there so much good stuff in this world? Okay, till next time.